Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Imaginary Engineering. This is Kirti, and in this video we are going to build application using the React.js and Node.js. I am using the React.js as a front end and Express.js framework at the backend. So without wasting time, let's start. First I will show you the app and then we will start. Before that, if you are the new user, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. So this is the basic application where we perform all the code operation: add, delete, edit, update. Now here I render all the users in the table format. Let's add the new user. Click on this add button. It will open the one pop-up. Provide the name, last name and email. I'm just giving the random email pooja@gmail.com and click on submit. Here you can see the new user has been added. Now if you want to edit, click on the pencil icon. Let's say first name is Kajal, submit. Here you can see the first name has been updated. Now also you can search the any user by ID. It will return the user data of that particular ID. Now if you want to delete, click on this delete icon. It will delete that particular user. So let's go back to our VS Code. So let's start. First I will create two folders, one for client and another for server. So let me create a folder server. Now first we will see the server part. Let me open the new terminal. We will switch to that server folder. Now we will run the command npm init-y. It will generate the package.json file for us. If I open the server folder, here we have the package.json file. Then we need the Express. So let me install the Express. I will also install the Node.js. So whenever we make any changes, we don't need to restart our server. So it will take some time. Under this dependency, here you can see Express and Node.js. So let's add the script start Node.js index. Our main is index.js. Now let me create the file index.js. Here first we require the Express, import the Express. So const express equal to require, in double quote we pass the Express. Then we assign that Express function into the one variable const app equal to Express. Then we define one port equal to, let's say, 8000. Then we define the method get, and here we pass our path /users and one callback function request response. This get method will return the JSON data. So I have some JSON data. So let me create one file first, mockdata.json. Let me copy this and paste it here. If you want this in a JSON format, press the Alt-Shift-F. Now here we can see we have the list of object, ID, first name, last name, email. So let's go back. First we will require that mock data in one variable. So const users equal to require, and we will pass the path .mockdata.json. Then here we will return the JSON users. Then our app is listening on port 8000. So we'll define the method listen, and here we pass our port number and one callback function. We console log that app is listening on port. Now let me start our server npm start. Here you can see app is listening on port 8000. Now let me go to the browser and localhost 8000. Our URL is /users. Enter. Here you can see we are getting all these users. Now let's go to the client part. Let me split the terminal and go to the client folder. cd client, and then we will create the app first. npx create react app name. It will take some time. Now our app has been created. Let me go to the my app, and here you can see we have the src and other folders. Let me delete I have deleted all the unnecessary code, and here is our app component. Here you can see it just written the one div, and inside that I have write the app. So let's go to our browser. Here you can see our localhost client running on the 3000 and our server is running on the 8000. Now let's add the users. When we fetch the users, we will store it in this useState users. Now let's create one use effect. It will take a two parameter. One is functions and another is dependency. Here I am passing the empty array as a dependency. Then we will create one async function to fetch the users. So const get all users. Let's make it async. We are using the Axios. So first we need to install this Axios. Let me stop the server and install the Axios npm I Axios. It has started installing. After installation, let's import this Axios. Import Axios from Axios. Then we call the get method, and here we pass the path. Let me go to the browser, and here I will copy this path and paste it here. Then it will resolve the promise and return the response. Here then we call the state update function set users and pass all the users. Let's call this get all users method. Let me restart the server. Now here we are getting one error, that course error, so we need to allow this course. So in our package.json file I will add the property proxy, and here we pass the path. Let me cut this and paste it here, localhost 8000. So whenever they read the request on the localhost 3000, that we redirect the request to the localhost 8000. Now here you can see the app is running right now. So let me open the network tool and we will see if we are getting the response or not. Here we are getting the response. It means it's working fine. So let's go back and render all the users in table format. So for the styling I'm using the tailwind css. So first let's install this tailwind css. I will copy this npm install -d tailwind css. If you don't know about this tailwind, so it's fine, it's just easy. You can go through the documentation, they have mentioned all the steps. It has created this config file. Let me copy this content and paste it here. Now next step is, let me copy this and put it in our index.css file. Now we are done. So let me add the class name. Suppose I want to change the color red, so text red 900. First let me restart the server. npm start. Meanwhile, I will tell you about this Tailwind. So here you can see this Tailwind documentation. You can search anything you want. If you want to search text, here you can see all this information they have given in a good format. You can go and check background color and all these things. Here you can see the app is in red color. Now let me remove this, and then we will add the React fragment, then one div. I will add, inside that I will add the another div. Let me give some width 80 pixel. Then I will add one input, let's say type text placeholder search, this input for the search, and here we will add the table. If you go to the Tailwind, and here they have the table. So let me just copy this and paste it here. Then here you can see we inside the table we have the table header, table body. Inside the table body we have this some extra rows. Let me remove this all, and we dynamically render this table rows. First I will change this table header. So before that, let me show you this table. Let's go to the browser. Here the table right now looks like. Now let's go back to our VS Code. In this table here, let's change it ID. Then we have the first name. Let me copy this and paste. Then we have the last name, email, and one more header for the action. Action is edit and delete action. So let's render this row in dynamically. Let me add in JSX. I will use the map to iterate over all the users. It will return the rows. Let me cut this and paste it here. The first column will be ID, so users.id. Then we have the user dot first name. Then we have the user dot last name. Let me copy this and paste it here. Then last we have the email. Here it's saying properties undefined, something is wrong. So let me go to the VS Code. We will render this user only if the users are not undefined, if there are users. So let me refresh. Here we can see all the data is rendered in table format, but here we are getting some warnings. Class, we have used the class, so let's rename this class to class name. I will rename this all, and also we have this key prop. We need to pass the unique key, so let's say key user.id. Here I will pass. Now let me refresh the ones. Now here you can see table is rendered. So let's add some styling now. Here I will add the class name equal to, width will be full, then height 100 VH. Then I will add the flex property. flex column, justify around item center, add some margin at the top 5 pixel, then background color will be hash 8282C35. Then I will add the text white. Now here you can see, but that table is not in center. Here I made the mistake. It is the item center. Yes is missing, so let me add the yes. Now table is in center. So let's add the styling for this our search box, search field. So width will be full, height will be 30 pixel. Then I will add the rounded, so it will round the corners. Border, it will be black 2 pixel. Then margin top bottom 30 pixel. Margin padding left 10 pixel, and text will be black. Now if I go here, you can see the text is black, everything is fine. Now let me remove this dot. For this action we will add the edit and delete icon. For that, let me open the React icon. We will install this React icon. Let me copy this npm. First I will stop the server. Npm I React icons. Here we search edit. It will show the many options. Choose any one you want. I will go through with this. Let me copy this and paste it here. After this email, I will add another td tag for the action. Inside that I will add the div. Let me add the another div, and inside that we will pass this our md edit tag. Let's search for the another for the delete icon. Then I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Now let me copy this also and paste it here. If we go back to our browser, server has stopped, so let me restart our server first. npm start. Now our server has been started, so let's go back to our browser. It's loading. Now here you can see this pencil and delete icon. Now let's add some styling for them. First I will add the flex, class name flex, then justify content, then add some styling for this edit. Text will be 20 pixel, then text will be blue 500, cursor pointer. Let me copy this same class name and paste it here. Let's change the color for delete. Let's red. Now here you can see color has been changed. Now let's go back to our VS Code. Let's change this width, table width. Here I have made the mistake. It should be pixel is missing. So now here you can see, let's make this table full width. So let me add the width full. Now let's go back. Here you can see the table took the full width. Now let's go back to our VS Code And after the table I will add the one button so user can add the entry in the table. So let's add one button here. Here you can see after the table we have the one button. Add some styling class name. Text will be 17 pixel. Then border will be 1 pixel. Added some padding. Then background color will be red. Then width will be 100 pixel. Text is white, and I will make the corner rounded. Now it looks like this. Let's move it to the center. So I will add the flex property here. Flex, then justify around item center, and I will add some margin top 30 pixel, and let's make the background color a little bit darker. Now here you can see, now it looks nice. Now let's go back to our Visual Code. We will go to our index.js file. Here we will add the another method. Right now we are getting all the users, so now we fetch the user by given ID. We'll add the another path. Here we pass the ID as a parameter. Now this callback function, we will return that user data of that particular ID. We will fetch the ID from the param, so request.param ID, and convert it to the number. Now we will use the filter method to find that particular user by given ID. Now this will return the user data of that particular ID. We will store it in one variable user list, and we pass that user list as a response. Now let's go back to our browser. Here I give the ID 1, it will return the data user 1. Now if I give the ID 3, here we are getting the data ID 3. Now next we will go to our app.js. First we will add one use state here to hold that search data. So search state update function set search equal to use state. Initially it will be empty string, and we pass it into the input variable. We add the property on change. And whenever user enter any text in this, we will call this our state update function set search and update the value e.target.value. Now next here I will add the one use effect. It will take the two parameter. First one is a function and second one is a dependency. Here I am passing the search as a dependency. So whenever user update this search, then this use effect will be run. We'll call one method here, get search user. Let's make it async. Await xuse.get, and here we pass that users and search ID that user has entered. Dot, then it will resolve the promise and return the response, and we'll update our user set users response.data. Now we will call this method get search users. Now if I go to our browser, here we are getting the error 404 not found. Let me open the DevTool network. Here you can see it's users. Yes is missing. Now if I refresh, yeah, it's working properly. If I search 1, if I give the ID 6, here you can see it's returning the particular user. Now let's go back to our VS Code index.js. Here I am adding the new method post, so user can add the new entry in the table. Here giving the path users, then one callback function request response, then here I am defining one variable body. It will store our request.body, and we are returning the message successful. Here I am destructuring the things we are getting from the request body. First name, last name, email equal to request.body. And also let me console log this. Now let's go to the postman, and I will give the URL localhost 8000/users method post. Here we give the request body, ID just random 11. We have the 10 records. Now first name, let's say Kirti, then last name, and we have the email. Let's say Kirti gmail.com, send. Here we are getting one error. Go to our VS Code. Here you can see request body, it's undefined. In console log we are getting this message, request body undefined. Let's use the middleware app.use Express.json, so it will convert it into a data to a JSON. Now let me go back and send. Now here we are getting the response success. Here you can see console log. Here we can see name, first name, last name, and email. Now we add validation here. If user not provided any first name, last name, or email, we will return the status code 400 bad request. So here we will return the status 400.send. We will give the message all fields are required. Now we go back. I will remove the email and send. Here we are getting the response 400 bad request, but not the message that we have sent. So something is wrong in our request body. Here you can see I have added the extra comma, so let me remove and send the request again. Here we are getting the response all fields are required. Let's go back to our VS Code. We will go to our app.js. Let me create the new folder components. When we user click on that add button, that model will be open. So let's name it register.js. Our component has created, so let's go back to our browser. I will use this React strap to model popup, so first we will install it. So let me stop this server and I will install npm install React strap. It will take some time. Then let's go back, copy this another one and paste it here. npm install bootstrap. Then we will import this bootstrap path here. Now we will search for the model. If I show you, if I click on this model pop-up will open. Now let me copy this code. Here I will remove this div register and copy this code and paste it here. We don't need this button, so I will remove that. Let me remove this state and toggle function. Now I will move this use state to our app.js and we will pass that model as a props to the register component. So here in this button I will add the on click. When user click on this add function, that pop-up will be open. So let's make the set model true. Now after this div, we will check if the model is true, then we will render our register component. Let me put it in parentheses. Now here we pass the model and set model as a props to register component. In register.js we'll accept that destructure the model and set model here. Here is our model. Here we pass the is open in build. Let me import that model body, model header from the React strap. Now here I will remove these extra things and start the server. npm start. Server has not started yet. Now let me remove the previous one. Now if I click on the add, you can see the pop-up, model title and two buttons. So you can see when I click on the add button, that table move upward. So let's go to our VS Code. Here I will remove this and add after the div. After the div I have added that register component. Now if I click on that add button, the table is not moving, still there. Now let me remove this model body. Here inside we will add the three input field: first name, last name and email. So label, let's say first name. Then we have the input. I will add the type text, placeholder, enter your name, then name attribute, first name. I will copy this and quickly rename all the things. Last name, then we have the email, enter your email and let's change the name attribute. Now in button I will change the color, let's say success for submit and danger for the cancel. Let me rename the title also. Now here we are getting one error. Let me import this input also from the React strap. Now here you can see, let me refresh. Now here you can see, let me rename that, do something into submit. Now here you can see we have the three input fields. If I click on the add, this pop-up will be open. Now let's go back to our Visual Code. Next we will add the one use state to hold the user data that user has submit. So user data state, set user data equal to use state. Initially it will be null. Then we will pass that user data into the register component as a prop. Also pass the update function set user data. Now in the register.js component, I am accepting that user data and set user data. Now when user enter some value in the input field, we will call the function handle on change. So let me create that. We'll add the attribute in the input field on change and we call this method handle on change, and also add the value attribute. Value will be user data dot first name. Now I will copy this and paste it here. Let me rename this to last name and this one is email. Now inside this handle on change, we will update our user data. We will call the set user data. First we will save all the previous data and then e.target.name colon e.target.value. So it will store ID, first name, email, last name. Now then when user click on the submit, so it will call the handle on submit method. So let me create that. We will call this method when user click on the submit button. e.prevent default. Let me make it async. Then we will call the post method here. First we will pass the path users. Let me check. Yeah, it's users. Then we will pass the payload, which is user data. Then we will simply console log the response here. I will console log this user data. Now let's go here. It's saying we need to import the Axios also. So let me import Axios from Axios. Now if I click on the add, let me open the div tool. Let me put some values, first name, last name, email, submit. Here you can see we are getting one warning because this value is undefined right now. So let me add or. If it is undefined, then we will say empty string. Now refresh. Again if I click on the add and enter, now that warning has gone. Click on the submit. Here you can see the user data, email, first name, last name. But you have noticed when we click on the submit, it's not, data is not added in our file. So let's go back to our index.js, and for that first we will require the fs file system. So let's say const fs equal to require in double quote fs. we are not sending the ID, so ID we need to generate. Each user has the unique ID, so if that user list is empty, then we will say id equal to 1 if there is users. So what we will do, we will take the id of the last user and increment it by 1. So here I will take the id of the last user and add the 1, otherwise the id will be 1 since it's first user. Now we will push that new user into our list users. We will pass the id, first name, then we have the last name and email. We don't need this body, so let me remove. Then I will console log these users. Now we will write it into the file. Append the new user into the file mock.data.json. So here we will pass the path of that file, and then user data we will convert it into the json.stringify users, and then we will pass the callback function. We will return the response. Let me copy this and paste it here. Now here basically we append the new user into the file. Now let's go back to the browser. Here I am adding the new user, and let's click before the submit. I will show you the current users available in the file. Here we have the total 10 users. Now I click on the submit. Here a new user has been added. Here you can see the last user is id 11. Now let me add the another one. Click on submit, but table is not updated if you see. Now let's go back. Here another user has been added. Now let me pass the another props get all users. So we will call this function, so our table will be updated when we add the new user. We will accept that as a props get all users. When user click on the submit, we will call that method get all users. It will fetch the all the users. So now let me add the new entry, first name, last name, email, and then I will click on the submit. Here you can see table has been updated, but that pop-up is still there. So let me call the toggle function here, so that pop-up will be closed once we click on the submit. Now that pop-up has been closed, but new entry has been added with a different id. So let's see how we can edit the users. Let's go back. VS Code. First we will go to our index.js file in server folder, and we will add the method patch we are using for the update. So let me add app.patch. We pass the path /users/id, and then we will pass the one callback function request response. First we will fetch the id from the parameter, convert it into the number, request.param.id. Then we will save the request.body in one variable. So let's say body equal to request.body. Then we need the index of the user that we need to update. So we will use the method find index. It will iterate over an array and match the id. If the id is matched, then it will return the index of that user. Then we will use the splice method to replace the user with the new value. First here we will pass the index, then delete item, and then the new item that we want to replace at the given index. Once the user data is updated, we will write into the file. So fs.write file. Here first we will pass our path. I will copy this and paste it here. So all things are similar. So instead of returning this message as a response, I will return all the users. So basically here what we did, first we find the index of that user we need to update, and then we use this splice method to replace the users with a new value. So now let's go back to our app.js. Now here this edit icon, I will add the event on click. When user click on that edit icon, we will open the pop-up. So we will call the one method edit user, and we will pass all the users data. Now here we will define the method edit user and receive the user as a parameter. Now first we will set the module true, so pop-up will be open, and set the user data as a users that we have received. Now let me go back. Now if I click on this any user pencil icon, here you can see all the values, first name, last name are pre-populated. Here I will console log the user data. I will show you what we are getting. So if I click on the add button, this user data is null, and if I click on this pencil icon, we are getting all the your email, first name, ID. Then now if you see, if user data is null, that means it is a post request, and if we have the user data.id, that means it is simply the update request. Then we will call the exus.patch method, otherwise we will call the exus.post method. So now if the user data.id is there, then we will call exus.patch, provide the path here, user.id, then we'll pass the user data as a payload. Then, and simply here I will console log. Now let's go back. Let me update this data. Let's say first name is John, and click on submit. Here you can see ID 5th is now John. Here in this table I have the many entries right now, so let me go back and I will remove some entries. So let me remove this. So now I have total 11 users. Let me refresh. Now I will edit this first user. Let's rename the first name, let's say Maria, and click on the submit. Here you can see the name has been updated. Let's check in the file also. The first name, here you can see the name is updated here also. If you notice here, when I click on the add button, all this previous data has been shown. So what we want, when user click on the submit, all this field will be empty. So I will set this user data null. So now let's go back. Let me refresh this page and click on the add button. Now here you can see all the fields are empty. Now we will see the delete functionality. Let's go to our index.js, and here I will add the method delete. we will pass the path /user/id, then callback function, request response. Inside this delete function, first we will fetch the id request.param.id and convert it to the number and store it in the one variable id. Then I will use the filter method to filter out all the users which id it does not match with the given id. We will make the list of all the user which id is not equal to the given id and store it in one variable user list. Now I will copy this write file and paste it here. I will pass, instead of this user, I will pass this user list which contain all the available remaining users, and also send this as a response. Now let's test this API in Postman. So first I will check this our file. We have the id 11. Now let me make the delete request id 11. Remove this request body, we don't need. Click on the sending. Here we are getting all the users. If I go to the file, and here you can see the last entry has been removed, i11 id, and then here also that it removed the id 11. Now we go back to our app.js. When we click on the user icon, we call this function. So on click, we'll create one function, delete user, and pass the user id. Now let's define that delete user const. It receives the user id as parameter. Let's make it async and call our delete method access.delete. We pass the path /users. We need to pass the user id and then response. I will update the user, call the set users and update that response.data. Now we are done. Let's go back to our browser. If I want to delete this, click on the delete icon. Here you can see user has been deleted. If I want to add any new entry, let's say Maria, let's give some random name, email, maria@gmail.com, submit. Here you can see the Maria has been added. If I want to edit that, let's rename the last name. Click on the submit. Here you can see last name has been updated. If I want to search anything, let's search by ID. So this is all for this video. If you see in this index.js file, we have the many things here in just one file. This is not a good way. What we can do, we can create a separate route folder, then we can create the controllers folder. So for this video I will stop here. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Imaginary Engineering. And thank you for watching.